listening to Planery, the podcast, your guide to home building, renovation and design. I'm your host, Emma, an architect and business owner with over 15 years industry experience, bringing you new episodes each week to answer all of your questions and provide clarity so you feel confident to design your dream home. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast, or if this is your first episode, welcome to the Planery community. Today, we're going to be diving into a space that often doesn't get as much attention as it deserves, and that is the bathroom. Bathrooms are not only essential to our daily routines, but a well-designed bathroom can add both value and comfort to your home. Creating a bathroom that's both functional and stylish can be a little bit of a challenge, from layouts and storage to materials and finishes. There are so many decisions to make, and this really varies between a home renovation and a dream home build. And that is because when you're doing your dream home build, you are often starting from scratch. So you have all the freedom in the world to plan out the space exactly as you want. But with a home renovation, there are often a lot of limiting factors, like you may not want to do the plumbing again. So you are stuck with the layout of the room to a certain extent to try and make an upgrade to the space, but whilst using everything in the places that they are currently located. And that is what I really want to get into in this episode. We'll explore how to design a bathroom that works for your lifestyle whilst reflecting your personal space. I'll be sharing tips, ideas, and even some common mistakes to avoid, which will help you create a space that's not only practical and relaxing, like a little at-home day spa, but also really visually stunning as well. We'll also dive into some real-life examples and expert advice to give you a comprehensive guide of the way to design your dream bathroom. So let's get into it. Before we dive into design details, let's start with our number one priority, and that is functionality. A bathroom needs to work for you and your family, so it's incredibly important to think about how the spatial layout will be and how the space is actually going to be used. And given again that this podcast is called Planery, we love a good plan, and any project which has a plan behind it is way more likely to be successful. So let's grab a few questions. You can write these down on your notepad or just have a think about these, because this is really going to inform your design. First things first, who will use the bathroom? Is this a main bathroom that's for the family? Is it an ensuite to a master bedroom? Is it a guest bathroom or a small powder room? The users will really influence the design. So it's really important to write down not only the number of bathrooms you want to have in your space, like if it's one bathroom, it's going to need to do everything. If there is two bathrooms, or, everybody gets an ensuite, whatever it is, I would like you to write that number down and then the type of the bathroom next to it. Next question is, what is your daily routine? And this is something that I love to run through with my clients in our one-on-one design sessions. And that is, what time of the day do you anticipate that you would be using the bathroom? Like, for example, do you go to a morning gym class, but so does your partner, so you both need to be having a shower and then getting ready for work? Or does one of you have slow mornings and maybe just likes to spend time around the home, so they'll be showering when you're out, and maybe they are more using the space to get ready? For example, I like to put on makeup for my day, so I need an adequate space where I can do that, and preferably a separate bathroom that is not right next to my partner who is showering, so that I can give him his privacy, but also for me not to be standing in a hot, steamy room while I'm trying to do my makeup. So having questions like that in mind about, do I need a double vanity because in the morning it's busy and me and my partner are getting ready next to each other? Or do you want a really large shower so that maybe there's even two shower heads in there? Or you are showering your kids and getting them prepped and ready for the day. Maybe you need a bathtub for relaxing time in the evenings, which is one of my favorite things to do on the weekend. I absolutely love having a bath with candles on and a cup of tea or a glass of wine, depending on the mood. So really have a think about your daily routine, both on a weekday and a weekend day, and how that will influence your use of the space. Next up is, what are your storage needs? And this means considering everything from toiletries and towels to cleaning supplies and hairstyling tools, and how you're going to fit all of that into the space. Because let me tell you, when I have been in different houses over the years, there was never enough space, or it wasn't the right kind of space. So really think about how to plan that out. And if you're unsure, please do head over to the website and book in a design session with me. We can can knock that out in a one-on-one 1-hour session and sit there and go through how you could design your space. And you can even bring some little chicken scratch drawings, and I will really help you distill it down into how you can design the bathroom that is right for you. Once you've outlined your needs, it is time to think about the layout. A well-planned layout ensures the bathroom is easy to navigate and will maximize the available space. And that is twofold. So again, if you're renovating, you might have some sort of stringent conditions around how much space you have, or you might be trying to relocate the bathroom entirely and wondering how much space you will need. Or in a new home build, you're wanting to make sure you're not blowing out the budget by making an overly enormous space, but also having adequate space that is really making the most of your home. For example, avoiding placing the toilet as the first thing you see when you enter the bathroom. I cannot stand this. I hate it. It is also bad feng shui and it just looks all wrong. So really making sure that the vanity and a mirror or a stylish feature wall is the focal point when you first enter into a bathroom. Another key consideration is accessibility. So if you're designing a bathroom for aging in place for guests with mobility issues or just to a higher standard of, there is in Australia a thing called the Livable Housing Guidelines. I think that is the correct terminology for it. And it goes anything from basic all the way up to platinum standards. And this is something that building surveyors are requesting more of us as designers to have a think about how people will be aging in place. And although the rules can be a little bit painful sometimes, I do understand the idea behind it. And it's basically just future-proofing our homes. So this might be thinking about features like a walk-in shower instead of a bath, a shower over bath, if you will, having noggins in the walls so that grab bars could be added at a later date, using high-quality non-slip flooring, which is, of course, legislated to have like a certain R rating for the slip rating of your tiles and things in the bathroom, but you might want to up-spec that even more. And these are just some elements that can make your bathroom not only safer to use, but more functional for everybody in the long run as well. Now let's talk more about materials and finishes, which is of course the fun part and what I absolutely adore doing with my clients. Bathrooms are a really high moisture environment and it is really essential to choose materials that are durable and easy to clean and maintain, but also to have adequate ventilation, which is a whole nother topic that I could get into, but I always feel like there is just not enough fan force power, and I don't know if it's a word that we need to have with these fan manufacturers or just about having adequate ventilation in terms of, in the best case, even a window to your bathroom so that you can open it up and air it out. Because here in Melbourne, we do have quite a high risk of mold, and that is just because it's cold during winter and you're putting a hot, moisture-ridden space. And if you don't leave the fan running for long enough after you've taken a shower, you're never truly getting the moisture out of the space. And that's when people can run into problems of mold. And as we know, that is terrible for our health. So I don't want to bang on about that, but it is just something to consider, especially, like I said, with easy to clean materials. So let's jump into a couple of the different types of materials for your bathroom space, starting with the most obvious one, and that is tiles. There are so many different tile suppliers now, and wow, it can be really confusing. So that's where having a good interior designer comes in handy. And we actually do have interior designers in-house, and I also love to tap into the interiors as well, even though I'm an architect, because I love the holistic look of a space, and I love going tile shopping with my clients, or even just making suggestions that you can go grab some samples, get a good look and feel of them, and really expand your horizons on what is possible. Because I know a lot of people will default and go to Beaumont, who are of course a great supplier here in Australia, but you would be discrediting your creative horizons if you just go and look at that one store, because there are so many beautiful suppliers. So if you're looking at porcelain and ceramic tiles, please do your research. These are very popular choices for floors and walls because they're water resistant. And like I said, they come in endless colors and styles. And something about that as well is they are endless sizes. So you can do anything from small little square feature tiles that are really glossy and beautiful looking. I love a white gloss square tile for like a feature tile in a bathroom. I do have clients come to me sometimes wanting color. I recently did a pink bathroom for someone who had 3 daughters, and it was so fun. I absolutely cannot wait to see that one come to life. It was like a beautiful dusty pink for a coastal kind of home. And Yeah, I mean, in terms of floor tiles as well, my pick is usually 600 by 600, which is a nice large format tile. But you can also get up to 1200 by 600 to run up the wall, and the possibilities are truly endless. Quickly interrupting the podcast to let you know about our upcoming in-person event. This will be held in Melbourne, and it's a Dream Home workshop on Saturday, the 22nd of March. If you're feeling overwhelmed about renovating or doing your new build home in 2025, you do not want to miss this event. I will be there to guide you through the process step by step. It is a half-day workshop with plenty of opportunity to learn, grow, and share with the rest of the community who will be there on the day. There's only 20 seats available with a couple of tickets gone already. So make sure you secure your space now. All of the details are in the show notes with a link, and it's also live on our website, which is www.planery.com.au. Next up there is natural stone. So if you listen to our previous episode all about kitchens, I went over a couple of different stone types, but obviously there is natural stone versus reconstituted stone, which we are now allowed to use again, that there are zero silica options on the market. So this could be things like marble or travertine for a really high-end luxurious feel. And if your budget allows for this, my goodness, your bathroom is going to look insane. You could create a day spa hotel vibe kind of bathroom in your home. And I am working on one for someone at the moment, and it is just phenomenal. The colors, the textures, it is chef's kiss. But remember that these really do require sealing to prevent stains and damage. Another one is textured tiles. So these are really great for shower floors to reduce the risk of slipping. But sometimes when I say textured tile, I might also be referring to a feature wall tile, like a hammered look tile. So if you're wanting to know a couple more of the options, again, please just head over to the website or jump into my DMs on Instagram and make sure you're following us over there, because I'm more than happy to just have a little yap to you about your house and help you pick something that is great for you or point you in the right direction. Another one is the countertop for your vanity, and this can be done out of a number of different materials. There is solid surface, which, if you don't know what this is, unfortunately this is not a visual podcast, but I would love for you to Google solid surface and have a look at a few of the options of that. It is a sort of homogeneous approach. It is one solid surface that the sink is made out of, as well as the countertop, and it looks delicious. It is so beautiful and so seamless and really, really easy to clean. So I absolutely love solid surface. It is probably one of my favorite ways to do vanity tops, although I know not everyone is a fan of this. And if you are someone who wants to top mount a sink, then that would rule this option out. Another option is, like I said, natural stone or reconstituted stone, which you could use as well. You may also want to do a laminate or something, but my pick, if you are on a budget, is reconstituted stone or the solid surface kind of option. Next, another fun one is fixtures and hardware, and this means considering finishes like brushed nickel, matte black, polished chrome, and any of these can add some personality to your bathroom. One of my favorite budget-friendly brands is ABI Interiors, and I think these sit heavily in the mid-range, which I feel like is great for both renovations and new home builds. And of course, there are some absolutely spectacular products that are more in the luxury end, and there are more budget options as well. And I'm more than happy to work with different clients at different levels. And I sort of have, I guess, a little black book, which I should release a copy of one day, but I've got my little supplier Bible where I put in all of the things and categorize them by what I think suits best for someone's home. But bear in mind that you can always spend and save. You know, you're not kind of locked into using affordable materials everywhere. You can sort of splash out on something if you love it and just pull back in another area as well. Another one is wall-mounted faucets and floating vanities. These are a really great one if you want to create a modern and streamlined look, and having a floating vanity means easy to clean because you can get straight in under there and you don't have anything kind of touching at the floor surface where the water and, you know, dirt and grime and things can kind of get around as well. So just another consideration. And also don't forget shower screens. There are so many different options. You can do a beautiful reeded glass. You could do a smoked glass or clear glass. There's even some curved ones from brands like Future Glass. So really, really endless opportunities if you want to have an open shower screen versus a shower screen with a door, for those of you that are scarred for life from having an open shower and constantly having to mop up the water. So just bear that in mind, that if you're having an open shower screen, there are sort of recommended lengths of those so that you're not having that splashback of the water coming out and creating adequate falls in the floors. So again, more than happy to talk you through this. This is a little bit more of a technical item and not something that I'm going to get into on this episode because it's a little bit too deep. Now I want to move on to storage, and as we know, whether you are blessed to be in a large home and doing a beautiful custom build or in a home renovation, it is all the same. Storage is a game changer, and especially in a bathroom if you're working with a smaller space. So I want to mention a couple of my favorite smart solutions to maximize storage. The first one is vanities with drawers. These are so much more practical than cabinets. I will die on this hill. Like, I love drawers. I love them in kitchens and I love them in bathrooms. They allow you to see everything at a glance. You can go and buy a bunch of different drawer dividers, or you could even have them designed in by an excellent cabinet maker. And it just makes using your bathroom a delight because you're not constantly digging through a cupboard or having to have little baskets that you kind of pull out, and anything that's a solution to the problem that was created by just not having a drawer in the first place. The next one is recessed shelves. So this is a built-in little shower niche or wall above the vanity, and these can really save space while keeping items neatly organized. This could be a little hub wall behind a toilet where you can store like some decor or a little reed diffuser or your toilet spray. It might be the shower niche where you're able to store all of your hair care products, but either way, it saves you from adding on like a little wire basket or some little wall hook or something like that because you didn't think about it in the design process. Another one is over the toilet storage. So you can use the vertical space above the toilet for some more shelving or cabinets, and that is a long forgotten space because even if you have an in-wall cistern, you don't need the space above the toilet. So if you're really short on space, you can absolutely max that out and even store like your toilet rolls in a little recessed cabinet up there, and you'll be so thankful that you have it because those are the things that when you move in, you're like, oh no, we don't have anywhere to put this item. The last one is mirrored cabinets, and some people call them a medicine cabinet. I believe that is sort of the more typical kind of term for it, but basically combining a mirror with hidden storage. And this really allows for sleek and functional storage solutions. I keep all of my skincare in my medicine cabinet, and I just really like having it up high. I also have some of my perfumes and things in there as well, although I have recently been told that you shouldn't keep perfumes in a bathroom space. So if you know more about that, you're going to have to DM me because maybe I need to take them out of the bathroom so I'm not damaging my expensive perfumes. And for larger bathrooms, I would say you could even consider adding a linen closet or a built-in storage bench. And this would provide even more space for extra towels and linen, other essential items, while doubling as a little bit of seating or decor in the space as well. Now, before we move on to the fun part, which is styling, I want to remind you to check in on our website, which is www.planery.com.au, where you'll find design inspiration, renovation tips, masterclasses, and home design resources to help you create your dream space. And don't forget to subscribe to our weekly newsletter for exclusive content and early access to the podcast episodes. Now let's get back into designing your dream bathroom. Now that we've covered functionality and storage, let's shift our focus on styling. So this is where you can really let your personality shine and create a space that feels uniquely yours. So whilst I will go into a whole bunch of styling options, I will say that my expertise as an architect is in architecture and interior design, and interior styling is an entirely another area where you have dedicated professionals who just focus on styling. So although we do a lot of that in-house, sometimes if someone is really particular and wanting to source very special pieces, I will refer them on to an interior stylist because you just never know what they have up their sleeve. And some of those people are so incredibly talented and they just know all of these perfect little things, or they'll even go out and procure you special vintage pieces as well. So let's get into how to let your personality shine through this space and create a bathroom that feels really unique. The first one is the color palette. So neutral tones like whites, grey and beiges are of course timeless, but don't be afraid to add a little pop of color or some texture or something different with the accessories, maybe even a bold accent wall as well if that is more to your taste. The next one is lighting, and I will say layered and variety of lighting is key. Combining overhead lights for task lighting and having front-facing wall sconces at the vanity are fantastic if you are needing to do makeup or be able to see yourself really clearly. And then having ambient lighting for a really relaxing vibe is essential as well as having some of those other little LED glows around your mirror or under the cabinets just to give you that extra lighting. I also love to put sensor or timer lighting underneath floating vanities, and that is perfect for anyone who gets up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, because instead of needing to turn on all the lights and wake yourself up and just be blinded by it, you can instead just have the sensor light come on, and that will just stay on for a set period of time where you're able to use the bathroom, head straight back out again, and not have had to touch a single switch. Another item which I will mention in pretty much every podcast episode because I just love them is plants. I think there is nothing better than bringing the outdoors in, and adding greenery with low maintenance plants like a fern or a peace lily or even some devil's ivy can bring to life your space and add a whole lot of freshness as well as improved indoor air quality. I will just mention as a little caveat though that if you have kids or pets, it is really, really important to look up the plants and if they are poisonous to anybody, because if they were to touch, God forbid, any of those plants and get sick, you would really, really need to understand what you're putting into your space and if that's for the best or if it needs to be stored up high, and just having that extra level of care and consideration so that it's safe as well. Another item is artwork, and this is a perfect one for any bathroom to incorporate some framed prints or even a little bit of a gallery wall if your bathroom has enough space. I just love artwork and the impact that it has in our homes, and this could be as cheap as finding some prints online and going to Kmart or IKEA and finding some frames, or you could really look into having some custom pieces made by a local artist, or even just going to an art store and sourcing something that you really, really love. This episode wouldn't be complete if I didn't go into a couple of trending ideas for bathrooms in 2025. And although I'm not a huge fan of trends per se, because they do come and go, I can't help but mention a couple of the things that I feel like I've seen on design blogs and design magazines. So I'll jump into a couple of those as well. Number one is statement bathtubs. I feel like these have been something that is a classic and is never going to go out of style, but freestanding bathtubs in unique shapes, colors and designs is a really, really big one. You can also even get freestanding statement bathtubs made out of stone. The possibilities are endless. But I actually find a lot of people now are wanting back to wall freestanding look, and that is a very sensible option to do a back to wall because it still has the aesthetic appeal of a freestanding bath, but it means that you are not forced to try and clean behind that space. And I do have to mention it, as much as I would love for people to just use freestanding baths, I do understand that they are a little bit impractical because of that additional cleaning requirement. Another trend is terrazzo tiles, and there are some beautiful ones out there. I really, really love the depth that real terrazzo tiles can add to a space. They are not only playful and modern, but they're really making a comeback. And I recently did stay at Paramount House Hotel in Surrey Hills in Sydney, and that was because I was up there for a little bit of an event in early January, and the bathrooms there are all terrazzo, and please Google it. It is so, so pretty. I absolutely loved that hotel. I stayed in the Mac Daddy suite and it was 10 out of 10. I actually could not recommend it enough if you are looking for a beautiful hotel to stay at for the weekend. Lastly is smart technology. That is things like touchless taps or sensor taps, if you will, and sensor lighting, LED mirrors, and also mirrors that degauss or defog themselves. There are also heated flooring, and a bunch of these smart technology items can be such game changers in your home. It's just worth considering, though, if you are having a slab in floor heating on the ground floor for your bathrooms, that you could do something like hydronic heating. But if you are on a two-story home, you may be limited to electric underfloor heating. So just a little bit of a sustainable consideration to remember that on the second floor of the house, you can't kind of do the same approach unless you are slab to slab. Before we wrap up, let's talk about some common mistakes to avoid when designing a bathroom. I did touch on this lightly earlier, but ignoring ventilation, poor ventilation can lead to mold, mildew, and damage over time. So always prioritize airflow and speak to your designer about how best to ventilate your space. Next is overcrowding the space. Really try to avoid cramming too many features into a small bathroom. Keep it simple and functional, and I mean this with materials as well. A lot of the time, if someone wants a bit of a day spa look, something that really makes that come to life is a minimalist palette. And by that, I mean you might even run the wall tile or the floor tile up the wall and just use the one tile in the entire space. And that is a great approach for a small space to make it feel bigger. Choosing the wrong materials, that is avoiding materials that aren't water resistant or require a high level of maintenance in wet conditions. So that could be things like natural timbers, because again, they're just going to absorb the moisture in the space and it wouldn't be right for a wet area. Lastly, forgetting about lighting, a poorly lit bathroom can feel really uninviting. I love bathrooms with skylights where possible. I think it really, really adds to the space. It brings in natural lighting or even a window as well, and layering your lighting in things like LEDs, like we talked about, having wall sconces and overhead task lighting. This will allow not only for functionality, but also for ambience in the space as well. So let's recap the key points from today's episode. Number one is to start with functionality by considering who will be using the bathroom and what their needs and wants are. Number two is choosing durable, low-maintenance materials that will suit your style. Number three is incorporating smart storage solutions to keep the space organized. Number four is adding personality with color, lighting, plants, and trendy features. And number five is avoiding common mistakes in bathrooms like poor ventilation and insufficient storage. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Planery. If you found it helpful, please ensure you are subscribed and have your notifications turned on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening to this podcast. And why not share it with someone who's planning a home renovation or dream home design as well? Next time, we'll be discussing outdoor living spaces and how to make them an extension of your home. Until then, take care and happy planning.